With only a week between races, most of the teams came straight to Imola from Belgium for today's San Marino Grand Prix, and there's been some frantic activity to ready the cars. At the quarter stage of the World Championship, Alain Prost has a healthy 5-point lead over Derek Warwick, with Michele Alboreto, Niki Lauda and Keke Rosberg tying for third, and Elio De Angelis in sixth place. But in the Constructors' Championship, McLaren have an even healthier 11-point lead over Ferrari, with Renault and Williams close behind. On the grid, after making the fastest ever lap of Imola, Nelson Piquet is in his 10th pole position ahead of Prost, with Rosberg third, Warwick maintaining his superb form in fourth place, Niki Lauda fifth and Arnoux sixth. So, with both their men in the top five, the McLarens again look good. But Ferrari on their home ground are unhappy, with Belgium's winner Alboreto only 13th. And again, all the British drivers are in, with Mansell 18th, Brundle 22nd and Palmer 25th. Nelson Piquet in his 10th pole position and his second of 1984, looking very good indeed, with a clear circuit in front of him and intending to keep it that way. It's go, and a very bad start there from Niki Lauda, left on the line, and also badly left is, it looks like one of the Williams cars as Prost takes the lead, going round the left-hander at the Tambirello. Keke Rosberg left at the start, as he was at Zolder last weekend. So another very bad start, and Keke seems to have big problems getting the car away. Well, Prost is leading, Piquet is second, Derek Warwick is third, and up to fourth position already from sixth place is Arnoux, as off goes, I can't identify him from here.
I think it was one of the Renaults, Murray. I didn't get a good look, but whoever it was looked terminally wounded anyway, because he had a front wheel all awry, so there was obviously a little bit of pushing and shoving there at the first corner. Of course, at the start, these turbocharged engines really are very difficult to running at high revs, but without a lot of load. And we have seen, and yes, it is one of the Renaults. I can't see.
It's definitely Tombe then, Patrick Tombe, because Derek Warwick was up into third position, and there he goes. And look at the lead they have over Alboreto as the leader here. Alain Prost goes through, with Nelson Piquet in second position, with Derek Warwick in the Renault in third place, with René Arnoux up to fourth from sixth on the grid. Coming through to complete lap one in this 60-lap race, there's Arnoux fourth. Manfred Winkelhock in the ATS is in fifth position, and Michele Alboreto is in sixth place, having come up all the way from 13th position.
Into the pits, Eddie Cheever. And that's a bit of an early one. They're changing rear tyres. That may be routine, but I think he's... No, they've just changed the rear tyre. Maybe he damaged a wheel. He might well have been involved in that little incident that put Tambay out.
Prost leading now on lap 4 out of 60, and he's getting... And that is Nigel Mansell. Well, Mansell said before this race began, I expect to be out by lap 3. How right he was, not for the reason he foresaw, because in the warm-up, the JPS Lotus cars had a lot of problems, and Eddie Cheever, that you saw come in, did, as you see, change a tyre. That was obviously due to some sort of coming together. And now Warwick seems not to be making any real ground on Piquet, and for that matter, nor is Arnoux making ground on Warwick. Keke Rosberg walking in. Well, that is a sensational development. We haven't seen the car, but Rosberg, who started third on the grid, and for that matter, the world champion of 1982, in third equal position in the World Championship, will not be scoring any more points in this race, walking in, obviously having parked the car somewhere, as Prost goes through.
And we've got quite a gap developing now. Piquet is pulling away from Warwick.
And the lead now on lap 6 out of 60, 1/10 distance is held by the man you're looking at, Alain Prost, from Nelson Piquet second, Warwick third, Arnoux fourth, Alboreto fifth, and Winkelhock sixth. Prost leading. And you see the gap, a very, very big gap, as Prost on his 8th lap goes past the Tamburello into the sweeping right-hander at the Rettifilo. We look now at Nelson Piquet, and then there should be 3 cars pretty close together, but they're not. Warwick seems to be a bit further ahead of René Arnoux than he was last time I saw him. There are the 4th and 5th cars. And Michele Alboreto, as I said from the Belgian Grand Prix at Zolder last weekend, is certainly proving to be this year the dominant driver in the Italian Ferrari team. I wouldn't expect for one moment that that was because of any preferential treatment. This is his first season in a turbocharged car, having driven for the last 3 years for Ken Tyrrell's Tyrrell Ford-powered team. And that is Riccardo Patrese getting out of his car and out of the race to join Patrick Tambay, who has retired, Mansell, who has retired, Keke Rosberg, who has retired. Prost leads, Piquet 2nd, Warwick 3rd, Arnoux 4th, Alboreto 5th. Niki Lauda is now in 6th position, having passed Manfred Winkelhock 7th, Farby 8th, De Angelis 9th. Martin Brundle is now up into 10th place. A superb performance on this circuit, which certainly doesn't favour the Ford DFV powered cars. He's got about 550 horsepower at absolute maximum. And see Michele Alboreto closing up on Arnoux. And there is Niki Lauda in 6th position, certainly gaining.
Yes, Lauda coming through very quickly, whereas Alboreto was the early star. He now seems to be a little bit stuck behind René Arnoux, his teammate, which stands to reason. 2 obviously totally equally matched cars, but he's got the problem of the disturbed air from Arnoux's car in front, stops him getting as close as he would like to be able to attack. And he's been like that for what, 3 laps or so, and he really hasn't looked like getting him anywhere on the circuit where he can get in a position to attack as yet. But and Lauda is closing fast on them.
Arnoux, Alboreto, Lauda. Now, Niki Lauda faster than Prost, and he's getting very close to the lap record time. At this early stage in the race, he is only 0.4 of a second off the lap record as he closes right up to Michele Alboreto, who is in 5th position.
Well, Niki Lauda is clearly the fastest man on the track at the moment, but he is, well, up until this point, he's now caught that group in front of him, and so he won't be able to show us his speed again until he can get past them. And it's going to be interesting to see now. He's well placed, he's getting a tow from Alboreto's car, and let's see how he can match him relative for straight line speed on the straight. He's not doing badly, they look pretty evenly matched. He's in the tow forget, like it. Oh, when he's coming through, he's going to be able to pass him. Lauda looks as if he's got Alboreto. Alboreto will fight back, he's got the inside, and Lauda had the wrong side. There's nothing he could do. Alboreto was absolutely correct and within his rights, but I don't think it's going to be long, and he's out dragging him up the hill, and they've really got some grip. But this is going to be a tight one. Oh, Lauda leaning on Alboreto, but both extremely sensible, experienced drivers. No danger, really, of them rubbing wheels. They're both too intelligent to think that a Grand Prix is one-on-one manoeuvre.
An enormous tribute to John Barnard and his McLaren design team, to Hans Metzger and the Porsche engineers that designed for TAG this V6 turbo engine, which is in its first full season of Grand Prix racing. And Niki Lauda now in 5th position, and clearly not going to be satisfied with that for very long as he closes up to René Arnoux and pulls away from Alboreto. And these TAG-powered cars have already won in Brazil, won in South Africa, finished 2nd in South Africa. No points at the Belgian Grand Prix at Zolder, but Lauda now right with Arnoux.
And if the last lap was any form pointer, Lauda's got enough straight line speed when coupled with the tow that Arnoux's going to give him to get past him. But the only question is, can he get enough clear air? Because he's got to get fully ahead. Oh, and he's got the right side this time now. Lauda now will have the inside for the hairpin, and he's clearly through.
That is Jacques Lafitte, and that's what a disastrous race for the Williams team, with World Championship third place holder Kiki Rosberg already out. Out goes Jacques Lafitte. And the gap between Prost and Piquet, who is second, is now 14 seconds. The gap between Piquet and Warwick, and Lauda for that matter, with Arnoux catching both of them, is 4 seconds. And René Arnoux got a fresh lease of life. I suspect that is more because Derek Warwick is holding up Lauda and in the process allowing Arnoux to catch up, than because Arnoux is necessarily going all that much quicker.
Yes, that's absolutely right, Murray, and I think Nicky is probably suffering a little bit of frustration, but he's only been behind him for a lap. Now, there's a couple of back markers in front of them. This could be a hindrance or a help. Lauda's well placed this time, but he's the wrong side. He's got to come the other side. No, he's having a look, but Warwick's having none of it. Down the inside. They've got a back marker in the way. That's always like a bit of a joker in the pack. Can Lauda get the power on early? Because this is one of the places up the hill into the little chicane that he might be able to have a look. He's having a look.
And Warwick holds him off in third position. Joe Gartner in the Osella is one of those back markers who has been passed by Warwick, Lauda and now René Arnoux. And it's Jonathan Palmer in the Ram March who was temporarily holding up Warwick, Lauda and Arnoux, who you now see, all of whom have passed and lapped Jonathan Palmer. And Brundle, Martin Brundle, is in 10th place ahead of De Cesaris, and he's comfortably leading his teammate Stefan Beloff in the second Tyrrell Ford, who is in 13th position. Third and fourth, Warwick and Lauda. Behind them, Arnoux. Fifth, behind him, and you saw him, Alboreto. Sixth, the two Ferraris. And a rather silent, unhappy Italian crowd who are not seeing their beloved Ferraris do nearly as well as they usually do and as they hope they will. There's a lot of people here at Imola, but I suspect rather less than there were last year when the Ferraris were going so much better. Warwick pulling away a bit.
Yes, he got the drop out of the hairpin there. Lauda, I think, is a little bit too far behind, have a look, and he's beginning to run out of ideas about how to deal with Derek Warwick. He's being slowed up by well over a second a lap, I think, by Derek Warwick, and he'll be beginning to get a bit frustrated. And I think I saw a little puff of smoke from Lauda's car then under braking, but it might just have been shadow. Yes, and there it is. Lauda stopped. I did see a puff of smoke, and it looked like a very terminal one. So what a pity. Fine drive by Nicky once he'd recovered from that appalling start, and without any doubt the fastest car on the circuit, but not anymore.
It's now lap 20, and in the lead, Alain Prost. There is the McLaren driver who has been so dominant this season, and he's now leading by some 23 seconds from Nelson Piquet in the Brabham BMW, who, if he keeps going, is on his way to his first points of 1984. Derek Warwick, who's just 3 seconds behind Piquet, and then in 4th and 5th positions Arnoux and Alboreto, and up to 6th position, as you see, has come Teo Fabi, which means to say that both the Brabham BMWs, running reliably at the present moment, are in the top 6. And so, for that matter, are both the Ferraris, and there they are. The question, as we look at this picture, is there a straight race between Arnoux, who is in 4th position, and Alboreto, who is in 5th? Or is Alboreto trying to catch and pass his teammate? He surely must be at this early stage of the race.
Yes, I'm sure he is. He's, but at the same time, I would think at this stage of the race, and is that Prost going slowly? And Prost looks to be in trouble. He was coasting then. He's been, and he's got going again, maybe. How most extraordinary. Maybe he missed a gear and had a box full of neutrals or something like that. He hasn't come into the pits. So, oops, and now he's slowed down again.
I think I may know the answer. Prost, in practice, had this electronic engine management system I was telling you about cut out, and on one occasion he spun 3 times as the electronic system decided that it was not going to let the motor go where Prost wanted it to go, because there's now sort of an electrical system between the driver's right foot and the ignition system and the injection system of the engine, and there is little doubt that Alain Prost here on lap 21 out of 60 has struck trouble at that point. Now, whether or not it will recur, or whether or not it will keep on, we will just have to wait and see.
And there is Arnoux coming into the pits. This is earlier than scheduled.
And the gap between the leader, Prost, and Nelson Piquet has come down from 25 seconds to 21.5. René Arnoux changing his Goodyear tyres. This is a slow stop. In practice this morning, the quicker people were doing it in some 8 or 9 seconds. As you watch Prost, so do I, and I look out of the window to wait for Nelson Piquet, who crosses the line now. Right, and Warwick is catching Piquet. I hope they show us this soon. Warwick is ahead of Nelson Piquet in second position as they disappear from my sight. Derek Warwick has taken Nelson Piquet and moved up to second position, and if Prost is in trouble, it could be that what Derek Warwick hoped for, and that is after his third place in... and spin off! I bet you that's the same thing that happened in practice. Prost has definitely, I'm hypothesizing, but I'm virtually certain, got this engine management system problem which caused him to do just that 3 times in practice, and he will be a very unhappy man.
Yes, he held the spin beautifully. He kept his engine running, which is not easy to do when the car flips around, and he seemed... Well, he's got going again, but he's certainly got problems. If the engine suddenly, or rather its brain suddenly starts trying to drive, we've got 2 drivers in that car, and there's bound to be a conflict of interest, as we've just seen.
Lap 25. Into the pits comes Alboreto. Now, what was Arnoux's pit stop? Some 13 seconds. Start the watch now as the wheels stop rolling. Frenzied activity. The Ferrari mechanics not in their distinctive red overalls and red crash hats as last year, because it's tyres and not fuel, and there is some sort of a problem. This is a terrible pit stop for Michele Alboreto, and very shortly I expect to see Theo Fabi in the second Brabham move up into 4th position. Warwick and Piquet. And one of those engines seems to me to be sounding a tiny bit lumpy. If so, I suspect it was Warwick's rather than Piquet's, but let's wait and see. They are on their 27th lap, and they are some 30 seconds now behind Alain Prost, who's made a masterly recovery and is consolidating his lead almost halfway through the race as Nelson Piquet comes up alongside of Warwick to go through and take second place back from him, and does it. So maybe my guess was right, and that one of those lumpy engines was that of Derek Warwick. And in the pits, Elio De Angelis. He's in 6th position at the moment. You see a spurt of water there. That's water ballast which has gone into his car at the same time as the new tyres have gone on, to make sure that when this race finishes, the JPS Lotus complies with the minimum weight requirement. Prost into the pits. This is the race leader, and he is into the pits on at the end of lap 30, which is exactly half distance. The positions then on lap 31 show that Alain Prost, that we've just seen make his pit stop, leads, then Piquet and Warwick, then this terrific battle between Arnoux and Fabi, with Fabi just holding on to that 4th place and Arnoux taking it. Arnoux has now got half a car, now he's got the whole car in front, can adopt the best racing line, and takes in the process 4th position from Fabi. In 6th position is De Cesaris, and up into 7th place is Martin Brundle. Martin Brundle, who finished 5th and scored World Championship points in his first Grand Prix at Brazil, 2 points, is now almost in the points at San Marino, and if there's any car problems with the ones in front, he will certainly have at least 1 World Championship point.
Yes, René Arnoux has stretched a very big lead on Fabio already. He was being held up there behind him, and he's some 17 or 18 seconds behind Derek Warwick, and that is going to be interesting to see if he can make any headway on Derek Warwick. Remember that Arnoux has already made a pit stop. Warwick hasn't as yet, but he, as usual, I think, is trying to go the race on the same set of tyres, which may or may not be possible. I would suspect, if I had to put money on one or the other, that he won't be able to make it and he will have to stop for tyres. But he's been trying to do it all season, and we'll see if he has any success. Piquet, likewise, running similar tyres to Warwick, may well be trying to do the same thing.
And there is Manfred Winkelhock, who was in 11th position out of the San Marino Grand Prix. And the order on this, the 33rd lap out of 60, with this man, Alain Prost, in the lead by 15 seconds, is Nelson Piquet second, Warwick third. In fourth position, Arnoux. Fifth is Fabi. Sixth, De Cesaris. In a brilliant seventh place, Martin Brundle. Eighth, De Angelis. Prost here, the race leader, some 18 seconds ahead of Nelson Piquet second, is on his 34th lap and simply has to keep it going. Easier said than done, of course. There is René Arnoux, who has lapped for the third time, Joe Gartner, who is in his first Grand Prix, the Austrian driver. And that is Johnny Cecotto, who has just spun at the Aqua Minerale bends, but it does not look as though he's lost a place. Winkelhock stopped because of a misfire.
And Arnoux, as we suspected, having dealt with Terry Fabi, is now catching the Piquet-Warwick battle quite fast. He's only going to be about another 4 or 5 laps before he gets up to them at the present rate. But we now got to the stage of the race where I'm looking very carefully at both Piquet and Warwick. They both were of a mind to try and get through the race on the same set of tyres if they possibly could, and they've got really to the point now where if they don't change very soon, that probably means they're going to try and do it.
And here is René Arnoux with Derek Warwick, who is in third position, and there is Piquet. And Arnoux, with his tyre change completed some time ago, with Derek Warwick not having come in, and his tyres must be starting to wear quite hard now, and he's going to have to give way, I think, to René Arnoux. And if he does, it will be Arnoux third and starting to close on Piquet second. And I wonder if any of these tyre changes are likely to be so long that it'll give Martin Brundle a chance to move up into sixth position in the points. We'll see. Meantime, we concentrate on the battle for second, third and fourth places between Piquet, Warwick and Arnoux, and you look at Warwick and Arnoux as they disappear and now come into the Traguardo to come through and complete their 39th lap. Arnoux through and up into third position, and I say again, I still think that Warwick's engine is not running as cleanly as it should do, and that's Piquet. Now there's going to be a big charge from René Arnoux, this tremendously gutsy little Frenchman who is very much liked by the Italian crowd. He used to work in Italy as a mechanic with the Conrero Formula 3 team. Then he went to Renault. He speaks fluent Italian. He has lived in Bologna, although he now lives in London, and he is a real fighter, and he will be endeavouring to regain the dominance that he had over his teammate Michele Alboreto at the beginning of the season, and which Michele Alboreto had certainly got from him at the beginning of this race. He's now in the third position then, and the gap between him, Arnoux, and Piquet in second place is getting smaller and smaller all the time. That's De Cesaris with the red-winged Ligier, who is in sixth position. First time we've seen him in this race, has come up from 26th. He's just passed Joe Gartner. Martin Brundle, on the other hand, has lost a place to Elio De Angelis and has now slipped down to 8th position. A word of encouragement to anybody who's interested in the BMW engine, which gave so much trouble at Zolder in the Belgian Grand Prix. Thus far in this meeting, both Piquet and Fabi's cars have been absolutely trouble-free.
Yeah, they did find the cause of the problem, apparently. I spoke to Bernie Eccleston this morning about it, and it was they had something wrong with the fuel that they were using, whether it was an octane rating problem or whatever, but having got rid of that and got onto got a new batch of petrol supply, it's been all right.
Well, you're looking at the battle for second place between Piquet and Arnoux, and missing from it very clearly indeed is Derek Warwick, who surely must be coming in for tires. There seems little point in him staying out there now. He's not in touch with the battle for second place. And by the way, you haven't seen Prost for a long time, but he's still there. He's 21 seconds ahead on his way to his second victory of 1984.
Yes, Warwick's problem, of course, is that he's only some 15 or 16 seconds in front of Teo Fabi, and a pit stop would guarantee him losing that place. There's no way he could get in, change tyres and get out on level terms with Fabi. And although his tyres may well be quite worn, he should now be calculating whether he might be able to stay in front of Fabi by staying out there.
Martin Brundle has been into the pits for ballast and has been passed by his teammate Stefan Beloff. There is Beloff, or there was Beloff, but Beloff too will have to come in to take on ballast to make sure that his Tyrrell, like that of his teammate Martin Brundle, is up to the correct 540 kilograms minimum weight when he finishes the race. Prost goes through. There is Chiva, who's been left. There's Beloff in the distinctive number 4 black, red and yellow Tyrrell, as Alain Prost, looking smooth and completely untroubled, is now on his 50th lap out of 60, so he's just really got to keep going. As Piquet, and this is Piquet with a blown turbo, I do believe. Look at the smoke pouring from the back of his car. We spoke too soon. I think we'll have to wait and see whether Piquet gets out to retire. Yes, he does. Out come his arms, and Nelson Piquet, who was in second position, then goes out of the San Marino Grand Prix once again to score no points. A dreadful season for the world champion Brazilian, who did not score in Brazil or South Africa or Belgium, and he hasn't scored here at San Marino. And that means to say that as Prost disappears from sight, he's going to be virtually out of sight of most of the runners in the World Championship at the end of this race. Piquet, no points. Up into second place, Arnoux. To third place again, Warwick. To fourth place, Fabi, and he may be third if he catches and passes Warwick. To fifth goes De Cesaris. To sixth goes De Angelis, back in the points again this year in the JPS Lotus. Seventh, Chiva. Eighth, Beloff.
And I think that was Fabi going slowly as well. So both Brabhams seem to have expired within seconds, or certainly a minute or so, of each other. And that's Fabi, you can see just on the left of your screen, cruising round, and he'll be coming in to the pits, presumably to retire. It looked fairly terminal. Meanwhile, Prost, I think, will be quite pleased to have lost Piquet when he did. There's Fabi coming slowly into the pits. And, well, it's not smoking, so we don't quite know what his trouble is, but well, he's parking it into the garage, so it's doesn't look as if he's going to do anything again this afternoon.
Warwick has lost third position to Andrea De Cesaris, out of your sight. Warwick is definitely suffering from a misfire, as he has been doing for some time now. And he's going to have his time cut out to hang on to his fourth place, because Elio De Angelis is starting to challenge the Englishman. Yes, Derek Warwick, fifth. And there is Elio De Angelis, the only one of the two JPS Lotus starters still in the race. And he, as you see, is right up with Andrea De Cesaris, who is in third position. Well, if Prost wins this race, and my goodness, he's on target to do so, he will really have deserved to have done so, because he's had to face all sorts of adversity, and he's mastered his problems superbly. And what a magnificent race it has been for the McLaren tag team. De Cesaris has just gone limping past the pits within our sight, but not within the sight of the viewers. And that means to say that Elio De Angelis should be snatching that third position from his Italian countryman. Indeed has done so, with the leader Alain Prost coming up to start very shortly. His last lap. Drama right to the end of this Grand Prix, as has so very often happened in the past. I'm sorry to have to tell you that that Brundle has gone missing from our lap charts. We're watching anxiously for him, but with the leader now just starting his last lap, Alain Prost. René Arnoux is still in second place, but some 24 seconds behind the victorious, or soon-to-be victorious, Frenchman, with Derek Warwick trying to unlap himself. Is this significant, I wonder?
No, just that Prost has slowed right down.
And there is confirmation of the fact that the very unhappy Andrea De Cesaris is out of the San Marino Grand Prix as the leader goes to the halfway point on his 60th and last lap. So it is Prost, Arnoux, De Angelis third. Warwick moves up to fourth. Chiva to fifth, and Stefan Beloff looks as though he's going to finish in the points again, having done so at the Belgian Grand Prix, where the German was in sixth position. And that really is a superb performance from the German and from the Tyrrell team, with now underpowered Ford DFV powered cars. And Prost is almost home now. He's there at the highest point. He goes from the Variante Alta, which he exits in second gear, up to fifth gear, drops down to the left-hander of the Rivazza now the second left-hander, a little short straight, up into fourth gear to the Variante Bassa, the right-hander. Then he will start to swing left into the hard left-hander at Traguardo, where he is now, left again. And Alain Prost is almost home. Indeed, he wins the San Marino Grand Prix by crossing the line now with a victory wave again from the Frenchman. So, after dominating throughout and coping magnificently with very real problems, Alain Prost wins his second Grand Prix of the year ahead of René Arnoux, with Elio De Angelis third in spite of stopping on the last lap, Derek Warwick fourth, Stefan Beloff a magnificent fifth, and Thierry Boutsen sixth. Prost increases his World Championship lead to a massive 11 points over Warwick, whilst De Angelis and Arnoux now tie for third, with Alboreto, Lauda and Rosberg all on 9 points for fifth. In the Constructors' Championship, McLaren move even further ahead of Ferrari, 14 points ahead, with Renault third, JPS Lotus fourth and Williams fifth. A great day for McLaren and for Alain Prost then. And after he'd finished, Alain talked to the man whose place he took in the McLaren team, John Watson.
Congratulations, Alan. That was a great race for you, but I believe you had some small problems during the race.
There's only one problem. Everything was perfect. Engine, chassis, tires, everything was good. The only problem was, I use carbon fiber brakes, and it's a very difficult track for brakes here. And I think maybe I was a bit too quick at the beginning of the race, and the brakes were a bit too hot. And I had a problem with the pedal, which was much too long in under braking, and I just spun very quickly. I couldn't do nothing. I'm a bit lucky.
In 1980, you joined the Marlboro McLaren team, then left for 3 years with Renault, and now you're back with Marlboro McLaren. Can you tell me the differences between driving for a British team and a French team?
I think it's difficult to compare. Renault is a very, very big team, and everything is decided on the top. I mean, on the almost on the French government, and I don't like it very much. I think it's better to work in McLaren team because I work with 2 or 3 people, and the team is very sympathetic. It's very small, it's very sympathetic, and we do a better job at the moment.
Alain, the next Grand Prix is in Dijon, in France, and traditionally Renault have always won the French Grand Prix. Do you believe that your Marlboro MP42 can beat Renault at Dijon in 2 weeks' time?
I think our car could be very, very good on this kind of track, very good. So I hope to win the French Grand Prix. I hope to beat Renault in their country.